so excited. I am so excited. There's opening day, and then there's your first SEC game, and then there's your first SEC home game. And this is this weekend, our first SEC home game. And so it's just an exciting time for the players, the coaches. I think the fans will be excited. Hopefully the big tiger in the sky will take care of the weather for us on Saturday and Sunday. I'm a little bit nervous about that. I know tomorrow will be a beautiful day. But we got a great ball club coming in Georgia. Had great games with them throughout our history. And everybody's excited. Everybody's fired up about this. So let's hope for enormous crowds, a lot of fun, and great Tiger baseball.
You talk so much about how good Vanderbilt's pitching staff was. Now that you get the
staff, we have to keep talking about Vanderbilt's pitching staff.
You're the one that. But now that a team comes in that's not of that caliber, does the offensive approach change at all?
Well, let's not be too quick to judge Georgia's pitching staff. First of all, they have a young man on Saturday by the name of Tyler that was the best pitcher in the state of Georgia coming out of high school last year, best arm certainly, and his numbers are pretty good for them so far. I may say Vanderbilt's got the best pitching staff in the country, but you might see 3 or 4 staffs in the top 10 from the SEC. This is why it's called the SEC, and I don't know if your offensive approach changes. First of all, you have to respect all of your opponents, and you have to respect every pitcher that you step in that batter's box against. If they're pitching for an SEC team, you know that they've got talent. So our hitter's approach has to be very simple, and that is go in that batter's box and compete against the guy as hard as you can. Have an idea what he's trying to do to you, but you can't get away from your game. You have to have a certain approach, and you have to do the job. So. I'm confident that we have a good offensive team. I just think, what we went up against last weekend was extraordinary. When I say extraordinary, you still have to beat those teams. And we scored 3 runs in each of the games we lost. That was double the average they usually give up in a game. The problem was we didn't stop the other team. I knew for us to win, we would have to hold the other team to low-run games. And we didn't do that. So, a lot of attention goes to that lack of offense that was perceived to have happened last weekend. But the truth is we didn't pitch well enough in the final 2 games of the series, and that's something we need to tighten up as well.
Coach, Jared said you reminded him that Aaron Nola's first SEC start he had some trouble as well. You looking for him to bounce back, and can he learn from that particular lesson?
Honestly, I was really proud of the way Jared bounced back after giving up the 3-run inning. And that was Aaron Nola-ish. In that first SEC start for Nola, he gave up 5 in the first against Mississippi State. And then he went out there and threw up some zeros for about 3 or 4 innings. And I think he gave up 1 more scratch run. But Aaron has shown that that's the part of his makeup, and it's also the mark of a champion pitcher. The guy that, nobody's perfect, although Aaron's trying to be perfect this year. The thing that makes Aaron great, like he was last year in the Sam Houston State game and in that Mississippi State game, is he could have a rough inning and regroup and still keep his team in the game. Well, let me tell you, Jared Poche did that the other day. And so he didn't pitch good enough for us to win that day, but he pitched well enough to keep his team in the game and keep us right there. And it was a 2-run game, and we just came up a little bit short. So, it's all a matter if you look at the cup half empty or half full. I saw Jared's positive aspects of his outing. Obviously the negative aspect was he gave up the 3-run inning, and against a team with the pitching of Vanderbilt, that was probably enough for us to lose the game. But I think he's going to be just fine, and he's got that first SEC start out of the way now. I think he's going to settle in and pitch well for us.
Aaron talked about throwing a complete game as possibly a goal for him.
I'm going to have to smack that boy. I don't want him talking like that. Come on. He's just got to go out there and pitch. I mean, look, the Friday night starter, you hope will pitch you deep into the game and save your bullpen for the rest of the week, and that's what makes a guy a Friday night starter. But you can't go into a game saying you're going to pitch a complete game. My guess, Steve, is that you probably coerced him to say that, okay, with the way you phrased your question, okay? Because, the boys know that you can't look that far ahead. You just got to compete against each batter, each inning, And hopefully, you know, you look up at the scoreboard and you're deep into the game as a starting pitcher. But I'm going to watch his pitch count. I'm going to watch whether he's laboring or not. And if we have to go to our bullpen, we'll go to our bullpen, because I'm going to worry, I'm going to concern myself not only with winning that game, but this kid's future as well. So I'm not going to put him in a situation where, you know, we may risk injury. If he can pitch a complete game victory, I'd be ecstatic if he could do that. But I'm not expecting it. If it happens, it happens.